Hello, guys. How are we doing today?
Fantastic. Good to see you.
Great.
Good to see you guys as well. Congratulations, by the way, on your series. I had the chance to binge the whole entire season, and guys, this is a joy to watch.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much
Thank
for
you. Thank
watching.
you.
It means the world.
That's really that means a lot. Thank you.
I mean, honestly, it kept me on the edge of my seat just because you just never knew where the series was going, and then they would throw twists and turns at you that had you didn't see coming. And so for the two of you, let's start at the very beginning. Let's talk about how you guys even got involved with this project.
I started I got an audition and I loved the first two scripts, but I was really sad because I was too young. It said that I had like a 4-year-old kid, and I was like, there's no way. And then David and Susanna had the idea of like if we get that guy in a mustache, he's gonna make it. And so yeah, they had me grow out a mustache and that's how it happened. It was crazy.
Which is also crazy because I met Nick with a mustache and had only ever known him with a mustache. And it
It sounds
wasn't
like you
until like a month or two after filming that I met Nick again without his mustache that I was like, oh my God, this is a different person.
Yep.
I have to ask, could you tell that you're like, okay, mustache has a 4-year-old, mustache definitely
Yes.
would not have a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
1000%. It was like, it really was night and day. Like, Nick could be 40 with a mustache, and I'd be like, yeah, okay. Like, good
Yeah.
skin, 40 for sure. Like that, no problem.
I do have to ask them for both of you, though, then, like, as you said, 4-year-old child, in that case, it's like, how do you even approach that? You're like, I'm not somebody to have a 4-year-old child. Now I'm playing somebody who has a 4-year-old child. Like, so where did you draw your inspiration from?
Oh, I think, diving into the 70s and the culture of the 70s and the vibe of the 70s, you're very young. Like obviously goalposts have moved in terms of when things happen now. So, you just play who you are, but with a little bit more responsibility. I mean, it falls into line with who the characters are, I felt.
Yeah, because even with Cheryl, it's like I think she is somebody that like having a kid is a part of the picture that you are supposed to paint. You know what I mean? Like it's like that is the expectation, and at the point that you're like 30 and don't have a kid, people are sort of like, why? You know what I mean? It's like, and I think uh for Cheryl at least, appearances are absolutely everything. So there wouldn't be a world where she didn't have a kid, whether or not she wanted to be a mother or was ready for motherhood was kind of irrelevant to the equation.
Hmm. And as you guys said, you're playing characters based in the 1970s, stuff during the time period of the Cold War. So for you guys, how was it for you to play these characters? And did you have to do any additional research to kind of get into that mind?
I love this question. We had two very different sets of reading materials. As someone who's like deeply involved, but I've never played someone who's so in the know. So like, I'm usually like whoa, what's happening? And so to play someone who knows exactly what's happening, I had to read a ton of books about the Cold War and about, the geopolitical state of things. Very boring, dry reads. But it paid off because you get there and you kind of know what you're talking about when you're talking about it. But Vic, I love what you did.
I was spending a lot of time on the Army Wives subreddit, and a lot of time sort of like looking at YouTube clips of housewives. It like I just think it's like it is sort of that is the modern equivalent of that.
Yeah.
Like especially with the Army Wives subreddit, it's written first person POV, so it's like everybody is righteously just no matter what they're talking about and no matter how tough it is when you're reading it as a third person.
Mhm.
Everybody in their post is always exactly correct, and every move they made is justified because of their husband's rank in the army, and whoever has wronged them's husband is a lower rank. And it's, like, or the clerk at a store doesn't understand that, like their husband's station is higher than blah, blah, blah. It just like, it really was fascinating to read and see. And sometimes it's people asking for advice, and that was really like insightful. Like all of it was just very cool to see, but a little bit of a different, little
But
bit
to,
of a different reading process.
but to read, people who are so assured of their own opinions, which is so much of Cheryl. And meanwhile, Vic is like the such a selfless person and such a selfless actor.
I'm constantly saying that. I'm
And you're
so
constantly
selfless.
saying that, so selfless. But in order to be any kind of funny person who's good at improv, you have to be selfless. And so it was amazing to watch
That's
you.
very kind.
Oh, it's true. It's true. It was amazing to watch you in the tent be sort of like, so how was everybody's day? Blah, 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 and then get onto set and just like it was brilliant.
Absolutely love that you both had two very different ways of approaching this, specifically as you guys are just pointing out the Reddit, because for a lot of people, like Reddit's either hit or miss. It's either going to be a toxic environment or, like you said, from a third person perspective, especially in your case, Vic, where you get to you were studying it and you're seeing kind of firsthand to help build your character. So that what made you even go to Reddit? That's
Honestly, I think I am somebody, my Nick and I had a very different way that we sort of approached academia in schooling in our lives. I sort of was swiftly kicked out of my my Canadian state equivalent college, like a provincial college, satellite campus, the second that I had enough credits that they could kick me out. So I have always been a little bit of, I'm going to say, an alternative learner. I do really like, I also think for this character was very um, if you like the seed of this character, I think that the appearances were so important, and so it makes sense to seek out material where the appearance of things was really important rather than it being the substance of something. You know what I mean? Like, again, these Reddit posts, it's like it's all about the way something looks to an outside audience rather than it being about right and wrong. It's just wanting somebody to go like, "You're so right. I'm sorry that you were wronged like that." Cheryl, it's like I would put on, specifically for Cheryl, it's like the nails and the hair. As soon as I get the nails and the hair on, it's like it's the easiest thing in the world to tap into her, because that is like that's so much of it. It's the hair is filled with confidence.
Mm.
just about to make a Mean Girls reference, so I'm gonna
Yeah,
hold back from saying
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And actually, that brings up my next question. I was going to say, Vic, you kind of answered it. Like, was there anything of the costume or the hairstyling that, got you right into character? And obviously the hair and nails for Cheryl. But for you, Nicholas, what was there anything for you with Ray that you were meeting besides the mustache, obviously? But
Dude, yeah, no, I was saying the whole time that I was the luckiest actor on that set because I got the character completely for free. It was this amazing thing of like if I tried to play Ray whilst in what they sell in like, novelty stores, the basic spy disguise of big glasses, and a mustache, it would have come off as way too much. So my whole thing was just, react as truthfully and as grounded as possible and let the the show of my face do all the work for me. And it was just brilliant because I didn't recognize myself at all. I never got used to it. I had 6 months looking like that. And it was this really cool thing to kind of go undercover for a little bit from myself as well. Uh, yeah, it was hard to not feel like Ray actually, because that mustache was with me everywhere,
Everywhere.
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 well, to lead into, because the season has pretty much already dropped. There's a big twist that happens, or a big reveal that happens towards the end of the season. For you guys, when did you find out the big reveal? Was it right when the script was, you're reading the script, or did you kind of know it beforehand?
My audition process was very fast, so I was on the plane when I found out. I literally was reading through the scripts. And on the plane I found out, and then I had to message David and Susanna and be like, "Oh my God, it's me!" And they were like, "It's you." It was, which was honestly, because the scripts
Brilliant.
are in the same way that I think the show is very fun and visceral to watch. The scripts were very fun and visceral to read. So it was kind of like reading the first edition of a spy novel series. And so it was very fun getting to read that and have that experience that the audience had with it. It was a blast.
It's funny that you mentioned how fun the scripts were because there were like in the same way that the show has, these big moments but still is kind of cheeky with it. There's this great moment in the fifth episode where they wrote in the action line that Dane is standing on the car reaching out his hand and it's, the truck is moving and he's moving and then in parentheses they say, "Yes, this is prestige television." Like it
They
was they had a
they
great time.
do that one other time too, where they were like full. They're
Oh,
like
full
in the
nudity
bathhouse.
in
Yeah,
the
full frontal
bathhouse.
nudity.
And they go,
Because
"Yes."
again, we this is a premium television show.
It's like, yes, we can get away with this. In
Exactly,
parentheses, we
exactly.
can get away with this.
Yeah, exactly.
That is such a joy though, because there's a lot of times where the script is very exact. It's like, this is what's going to happen. These are the action lines. It's very serious. This is what we're taking. And to hear that the scripts you guys are getting, it's just as playful as sometimes the series was.
Yeah, I talked to David about it a little bit, and he was like, my first job in LA, not to put words in his mouth, but he's
Yeah.
like, one of my first jobs was reading scripts, was like reading scripts and sending it to people. And so like him going like, I know people are going to be reading this, and so it is important for those people to go, oh, this is fun. That like is
Yeah.
something that a lot of people don't do and take for granted. But like, David and Susanna are just such wonderful writers that of course, the scripts are fun to physically read, not just perform.
And also, it then it infects or it affects the performances then given. Like if that's the source material, we felt so free in our performances. Also, we would start improvising on certain scenes, and then the on-set writer Carolyn Chickalese would come in and like adapt those improvisations into just pure gold. And it was this really collaborative process, which I hope you can feel while watching the show. But it really was just such a blast to make.
Well, I'm so happy you brought that up because I was going to ask, it's so natural. There's so much like every scene felt so natural. And I was going to ask how much of a balance was there? How much collaboration was there with you guys and the screenwriters between what was actually in the scripts and what was improvised? Because you, like I said, everything flowed so naturally and so beautifully that you couldn't really tell.
Hmm.
That's really kind. I honestly think the beauty of the nature, we would always get at least one take that was scripted, and sometimes that would get used, but also sometimes when you're allowed to improvise around something and you say the line just comes out way more naturally. And so like it's funny because earlier we were talking about the first scene that you see Ray and Cheryl. We were allowed to improvise sort of like the top of the story, and I can tell that it is a take where we improvised the top of the story and then got into the lines, and they cut it so it is just the scripted line, but it does feel
Yeah.
very much like you're in the middle of the story. And so like, I think people don't always think about that as like a part of the collaboration process. But like for me, I'm like, I don't know, that got to like the most fun version of that
Mhm.
line in a way that I was like, I was really grateful. Sometimes like, yeah, some of the improv made it onto the screen, but I think it really is a testament to how strong the writing was. And I think had we not improvised a word, it's like it still is. The writing is just so unbelievably
Yeah.
strong and wonderful.
Mhm. And the writing is, like I said, you guys, the writing is was wonderful on the show. And so for you guys, especially towards the end of the season, real quickly, how did knowing the reveal shape kind of your performance throughout the series season?
It couldn't affect me at all. If it were to affect me, I'd be playing too much. It was this very strange thing of just like I have to pretend that the most exciting thing for my character isn't happening, which great challenge. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think for me, it's one of those things where like I would be curious on a rewatch people's thoughts on it because I think if you really go into it being like Cheryl's the mole, you can sort of see all of her actions really are pointing to that. You know what I mean? It's like she is doing her best, but like you can see it in the way that she's like asking questions about the investigation to people that she wouldn't normally talk to. You know what I mean? She's like obsessed with the device. She's like always kind of watching over her shoulder. I'm like, there, what was that?
He doesn't want music played in the apartment so that way everything can be recorded for the KGB. Like it's brilliant.
It's, but that is all there. And like, it's so nice because again, that is literally all built into the script. It's built into the character. So that way I just get to go in and really focus on playing somebody that just really believes that they are not valued in the way that they believe that they should be valued. And it truly was such a dream.
Yeah, and like as an audience member, it isn't as for me in my case when Cheryl was revealed, I was like going back and I was like, oh wait, like I noticed the first thing I noticed was the music. I was like, oh now it makes sense. Like okay, but like that's a great point is to rewatch and start really seeing where where there's more signs, and especially like the case of like Ray who's surprised the entire time. Like there's a beauty to that too, and like a beauty to the performance that there's no giveaway from you because there can't be.
Okay, yeah.
So, like I said, guys, it's a great season, and fingers crossed that season two is
Oh,
fingers crossed.
Well,
But I do want to thank you guys for taking your time to speak with me today. And like I said, congratulations. It was so great to watch.
thank you so
thank
much.
you so much. It
Thank
means the world, Megan. Seriously, we really appreciate it.
thank you for watching.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.